Market volatility has taken hold, sparking concern for many Americans. But for those nearing retirement, the roller coaster ride may be too much to stomach. And joining me now is Phil Huff, a partner with our sponsor, Golden Reserve, a Detroit area retirement financial planning firm. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get into this because there's a lot going on right now. Talk to us about market fluctuations because they're at the top of the mind for most people. But if you're nearing retirement, what should you really be aware of in the next few years?
Yeah, these are top of mind, right? We had some fluctuations early this year. I think the big thing as you're approaching retirement is this nasty thing called sequence of returns risk. And the big idea is when we face losses early in retirement, they're going to hurt us a lot more than later in retirement. So as we're approaching it, we don't want to have to change our lifestyle or our retirement timeline based on the stock market.
Right, and that's something that people really think about. But let's talk about something else that goes with this, which is the FOMO, fear of missing out on potential gains. What is the potential price tag on that?
Yeah, this one can catch you, right? If we're trying to keep up and we're maybe makeup, we feel like we haven't saved enough, so we go foot on the gas pedal risk to try and make it to our number, whatever that number may be. And what a lot of people might find is if you face some of those rocky times, instead of getting closer to retirement, you're pushing that retirement date back, or you're seeing yourself cancel that trip in retirement. Those things that you want to keep doing, you have to stop doing because you lost to the market.
Okay, because we don't have the time to make up for it, to recover for that loss,
exactly.
Right? Okay, so let's move on to our next report, which is risk assessing. How can we figure out what is truly an appropriate amount of risk to take at those different times in our lives?
Yeah, this is where we think the industry has it completely wrong. They start with the investments and then your lifestyle follows. Whereas we look at it the opposite way of what do you actually need from a return to do all the things you want to do. So let's figure that out. Let's figure out what we want retirement to look like. And you'd be surprised that a lot of people don't really need to take on a lot of risk to do all the things they want to do in retirement.
So kind of reverse engineer the process.
That's it.
Okay, so now next, let's talk about your market report and how this can help us gain a better understanding of our situation and where we stand.
Yeah, our market risk report is going to do the hard work for you to dig into your portfolio to figure out how much risk are you actually taking. So what percentage of your money's in the market, but more importantly, when we go through rocky times like 2000 and 2008, how much money would you lose? And if that number's too big, you probably should get a little safer.
Okay, so now let's talk about this. When we look at the retirement planning process as a whole, you guys have a roadmap for retirement. How can that help folks?
Yeah, the roadmap has tools for all the biggest risks. So we address taxes and market risk and fees and long-term care. One of the big ones when it comes to risk is we have our retirement or income projections. And when we look through retirement, we figure out what do we actually need to make. And that can dictate a lot of our decisions rather than that flip side of just saying, hey, you're moderate conservative or moderate aggressive. Let's really figure out what lifestyle you want to live and what types of returns you need.
What do you want your day to look like? What do you want your life to look like?
Exactly.
Let's start there. Awesome. Phil, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.